Let's begin lesson 0.1, area and perimeter, or area and circumference. We will cover three shapes: rectangle, triangle, and circle. Okay, for the first, rectangle. So I'm going to draw on this board. Hopefully you can follow with me. Okay, let's start with a rectangle. Not the best drawing of it, but that's a rectangle, let's assume, with four sides. The top and bottom are the same length. The left and right are the same length. And all the angles are the same. Okay, rectangle. Now let's just make up some numbers and let's assume. Assume this is an 11-inch by 8-inch. Sort of like the typical piece of paper. 11-inch by 8-inch. Okay, and the two things we want to find on this 11-inch by 8-inch rectangle is what is its perimeter and what its area is. So looking at perimeter, perimeter in general means add up all these sides. So in this case, we have 11 here. We have 8 here. On the top, it matches the bottom, so it's 11. On this side, it matches the other side, so it's 8. So 11 plus 8 plus 11 plus 8. 11 plus 8 plus 11 plus 8. Use a calculator. 38 inches. Okay. 38 inches. All right, that's perimeter. Just add up the sides. In this case, there were 4 sides, so we have 4 numbers, so we add them all up. Label it with inches because it's just the inches around. Okay, next, we want to have the area. And you've probably had the area formula forever, and you've memorized either length times width or base times height. Length times width, okay, is it 11 times 8 or 8 times 11? I generally think length is longer, so 11 times 8. But let's think about it. 11 times 8 is 88. 8 times 11 is 88. So in reality, it doesn't matter which way we go, we get 88. Length times width, or base times height, 11 times 8 equals 88 square inches, because it's the area inside. 11 times 8, 88. That's basically how you do rectangles. Okay, I brought a rectangle here, which is basically 11 times 8, 88. And now I'm going to cut it in half. And if you put these two together just right, they're basically the same exact thing. And they are a triangle. And so triangle area formula, a half times base times height, or a half times length times width. Those two, length and width, or base and height, forming a right angle. So we'll put that on the board. Triangle. Okay. And I'll just make up some different numbers here just to look at it. Suppose this were 3 feet, 4 feet, and 5 feet. Okay, just like the rectangle, the first thing we have is perimeter. And perimeter in general is add up all these sides. So there's 3 different numbers because 3 different sides. 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals 12 feet. But like this, the area formula, a half times base times height, half times the 2 that make the right angle, 4 times 3, is 6 square feet. triangle. Add up all the sides to get the perimeter. A half times base times height. And there will often be an extraneous number there for the area. A half times base times height gives you the area. Okay, that just leaves a circle. And let's look at both the area, and instead of perimeter, we call it circumference. And we'll give two different situations. So, hopefully you remember this. Do you remember? This little piece starts with an R, radius. This little piece all the way across starts with a D, diameter. Okay, so let's put 2 feet. And let's make this 6 inches. Okay, for the perimeter, 2 different formulas that are memorized, either 2 pi r over pi d. 2 pi r, or pi times d. Okay, pi, if you remember what that is, if you took the circumference and divided by the diameter, you would almost every single time get about 3.14. And I've had people practice that in the past. But 2 pi r, or pi times d. So this has an r, 2 times pi times 2. Right? Filling in the radius with 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And you could leave it just like that, because that is exact form, or pi form, 4 times pi. Or you put it in a calculator, 4 times 3.14, and I don't have a calculator right here. That would have been helpful. So I will minimize just a second and bring up a calculator on my computer, which you have a calculator on your computer, or should have. Calculator. There. And 3.14 times 4 is 12.56. 12.56 feet. Okay, that is circumference. 2 times pi times r. Or pi times d. But diameter is 2 times radius. 2 times radius would be 4. So 4 times pi. It's going to come out there. Area. Area is another formula you've probably memorized. Pi times r squared. Pi r squared. Okay, so first you deal with what's the radius in this. If the diameter equals 6, then the radius equals half of that amount, 3. So pi times 3 squared, or 3 times 3 is 9 pi. And then in your calculator, you could leave it right like that. 9 pi is exact form, or pi form. 9 times 3.14 is 28.26. 28.26 square inches. And that is all there is to the area and the perimeter of rectangle, triangle, circle. There are 4 papers in Canvas for you to practice on. One is about rectangles, finding the area and perimeter. One is about triangles, finding the area and perimeter. One is about circles, just finding the circumference. and one is about circles, just finding the area. Please practice those 4 in the next couple days, and then I'll put the answer key out, and I'll also be available for you to catch me during office hours and ask any questions. Thank you.